Chapter 2. The Chupacabra. Finding relevant information on the Chupacabra took quite some digging. The following is a news article I found while in the archives of the Las Vegas Public Library. It is an article dated to May 24th, 1985, on the sighting and rampage of a coyote-like creature through the streets. When trying to research the event further to see if there were any clues or a paper trail that I could follow, I found that the entire event had been dismissed as a mass hallucination, despite multiple people getting injured. This is the only news source that properly documents the incident. It begins as such. A warm summer night of booze and fun in Las Vegas County was interrupted tonight as a wolf creature was set loose on the roads. Police have not been able to identify the creature, but have successfully run it off. Nearby farming communities even go as far as to say that a creature known as the Chupacabra has made its appearance. The creature is a folk legend originating among South American countries as well as countries of Spanish origin. When in conversation with these farmers, to see if they could provide more details, they only said that it goes after cattle and farm animals, and is rarely seen rampaging through public areas. Interviewing partygoers says otherwise. One young lady describes the creature as a scaled hyena, dark brown, almost black fur, with a jaw like an alligator. It took no mercy on us. It moved quickly, another victim says, like it wanted to snatch us off the streets. Both interviewees were injured by the creature, bitten in odd places. Others were not so lucky. After entering the night scene, the creature kept to the back alleys, hiding and waiting, officials say. After it was safe to leave, it entered the kitchens of a nearby gambling parlor and took its first victim, the chef of the establishment, 33-year-old Henry Bucket. Henry was a good son, his mother told us, sobbing at the loss of her only son's life. The result of Henry's autopsy indeed proved tragic. He was mounted by the beast and then ridden with bite marks. It looks like the thing drained the blood out of his veins, the doctor remarks. How this happened, specialists are unsure. Typically, hounds like wolves and coyotes don't have the power or biology to pull this off, remarks Dr. Jeff Anderson, expert in wild animals and professor of zoology at the University of Arizona. As far as I can say, this is a whole new animal altogether. After the attack on Mr. Bucket, the creature had successfully scared off the rest of the kitchen staff, who all sustained at most minor injuries and are safe. The beast continued into the main parlor, where guests had not been notified of its presence yet. From here it started its path to chaos. Guests flocked to the exits in panicked herds, tripping over themselves to evacuate the area. Some, identified as members of the local gangs, stayed behind in an effort to battle it out. Mr. Crew, a neighbor to the parlor, heard the gunshots and violence happening inside and decided to notify the police. Police were slow to respond at first, due to the area being known for its high crime rate and gang violence. Chief Smith even goes as far as to say we really thought it was just another territorial dispute and delayed sending the squads into the area. By then, the animal had claimed 2 lives. One of a prominent drug dealer in the area, Dave McDillon, who was on the Las Vegas County Sheriff's watch list for over a decade. Because of his death, folks in the area are calling the beast a blessing from God. Our sources say a small cult following has started as well, focused on worshipping the hound. The second life taken in the parlor was no other than Chief Smith himself, who heroically led his squad into action and after rounds of gunfire, successfully scared the creature back to the kitchen and out the back door. From there, experts say the hound either hid itself among the trash cans or fled into the desert. Animal specialists could not find any identifiable tracks to pursue the animal into the desert and have decided to close the case until another sighting occurs. Locals were not amused by this progression. Marianne, a farmer to the east of the area, where the hound is said to have fled, says this: "I can't have a dog like this in my town. Think of the children. It's bad enough living around with those criminals, but having to keep my lights on at night, alert at all times, sitting on the porch, how are we supposed to live like this for God's sake? It seems she's not the only one, as multiple farmers in the community have brought the issue to court and the county sheriff. Proceedings are still occurring, but it seems unlikely that they will win. They're just offering us loads and loads and loads of hush money, acting like they'll shoot us if we continue to fight. Honestly, I understand how the hound felt now, cornered by the state. No one on your side. I'm sorry. I'll have to take this interview later. As of today, no other sightings of this animal have been made by the farming community or by the people of Las Vegas County. It seems that the police were successful in running off the beast, but it leaves many questions in its wake. Where did it come from? Is it truly a supernatural beast, or simply a regular coyote? How did it drain its victims of blood, killing them so cruelly? And of course, will it happen again? This is the end of the article, unfortunately. I have tried chasing every tale I could find, tracking down every source, every person mentioned. I even went after the court hearing documentation, but alas, it seems that all court proceedings from Las Vegas that year were caught in a fire accident. Unfortunate and highly suspicious. Nonetheless, this article provides all sorts of information on the Chupacabra's identification, habits, etc. Traditionally, it is in fact scaled, almost lizard-like, but in the physical form of a coyote or wolf. It is known to steal helpless cattle or chicken from farms, sucking them of their blood and leaving dry husks in its wake. Sometimes, when it cannot find a way to quench its thirst, it will go after humans, small children mainly. A chupacabra has to be quite starved to find its way into a community as large as Las Vegas and terrorize the nightlife there. After some excruciating nights of research, however, I did find the address of the journalist who wrote this article. Below is an excerpt of the recording I took of our interview. Selenite. Mr. Noah Levine, was it? Levine. That's correct. Selenite. All right, Mr. Levine. Could you start by telling me how you happened upon this story? Was it suggested or assigned to you? Levine. No, sir. I went out on my own and found all the details. I started with official sources, the police, the victims of the casualty, etc., but then branched out towards the end. Actually, towards the end of my investigation, I was even being followed. I'm not sure by who. Selenite. Followed. That is intriguing. Could you provide me with more details? Levine. Well, actually, I'm not sure I'm entirely allowed to talk about it. Selenite. It's quite all right, Mr. Levine. See, I won't take any notes. It won't be documented. I'm just personally curious, that's all. Levine. I see. Well, the first time, I was driving a bit ways out to meet with some locals, the people who were suing the police department. Selenite. Yes, I do remember that from the article. Levine. Right, well, I was drawing down and got stuck in traffic, or so I thought. It was a bit suspicious. All of the other cars were black SUVs, the type you see on crime shows. They seemed to block me at every turn, almost on purpose. I don't know if that's enough evidence that there was someone or somebody trying to get me late to the interview, but that was only one instance. Another time, right after I'd submitted my initial article for review, I got called by my boss, Robert Langride, in the dead of the night, around 2 a.m., and he told me, he said, I'm not going to be able to publish your article, son, and my article was scrapped. If you don't mind me asking, sir, how did you come across my article in the first place? Even I don't have a copy of it anymore, and I doubt the printing press does. Selenite. Me? Oh, I managed to find it in the public library records. Levine. Is that so? I don't recall us ever sending our papers to the library. Selenite. Right, it was a recent development, perhaps after you were let go. Levine. Sir. Selenite. Yes. Levine. How did you know I was let go? I'm afraid I had to end the conversation then. Mr. Levine got a bit physical with me after he discovered that I was still recording him. I tried to explain to him that it would only be used for personal research, but You didn't seem to believe me.
I wouldn't either.
June, you could at least knock.
Sorry, I was just enjoying the read. You have to admit, though, he is suspicious as fuck.
Yeah, a bit. I don't know. I knew most of this was going to be fake when I started reading. I guess I got ahead of myself and started believing him.
Well, don't get scammed again, sweetie. I'll be outside when you want to start working on that presentation.
Yeah, be right there. After losing my last resource, I had no choice but to conclude my investigation. Nonetheless, I still believe the endeavor was fruitful. I am one of the only people on this earth with documentation of an official Chupacabra sighting. The descriptions of the Chupacabra victims in this article all line up with the oral mythos of the creature. Fangs that draw blood, scaled back, rippling like a lizard with the snout of a wolf and the cunning of a fox. A splendid creature, to say the least. I can only hope one day that Mr. Levine will come to me himself to share his experience. Of course, that is all I can hope for all of my interviewees, of all my sources, of all my ghosts and ghouls. I can only hope they come to me. This concludes Chapter 2.